Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Baer. I'm the CEO at Fountain, and I'm here to talk about high volume hiring headaches and how to cure them. So, if you're somebody who is tasked with hiring lots and lots of people, or if you work for a business where you're hiring across many, many locations, this presentation is for you, and hopefully you'll find it informative and learn a little bit about what some of our customers are doing to meet the challenges of hiring lots of people. So obviously we're all familiar with the 7 stages of recruitment, right? You do a lot of prep work, you write your job description, you figure out kind of the right kind of person, you maybe do some sourcing, you post to multiple job boards, you go through a lot of applicant screening, you select the right candidates, you bring them through an interview process, you do some document checks, and then hire and onboard them, and hopefully that person stays with you for a long time. And this funnel is the same whether you're recruiting for a marketing manager or a delivery driver and anything in between. What do we mean when we say high volume recruitment? We mean filling a larger than average number of positions in a relatively short time frame. So obviously, as a reference, you might be looking for one marketing manager. You're looking for the perfect person to add to your marketing team. You need one hire. You've got one open requisition. That is probably the opposite of high volume recruitment. High volume recruitment is maybe you're tasked with recruiting for a new warehouse that's opening up in a new location. Maybe you're expanding into a new country across Europe and you need to staff up a team to do delivery or logistics. Or maybe you're opening a new location for your retail or restaurant service and you need to staff up 20 people or 50 people or 12 people. Maybe your business is going really well and customer support needs 10 new people to staff up a 24/7 customer support operation. How do you handle hiring all of those people and still meet the needs of your business? And as I know, we all know, the business never comes to us and says, we need 12 people, but we can get them next year. It's always, we need 12 people and we need them tomorrow. That's what high volume is really about. It's very different than the world of corporate hiring. Corporate hiring is typically, you're looking for that one person. Maybe you're looking for 2 people on the marketing team or on the finance team. You're typically recruiting from, and the applicant is typically looking at a laptop, like many of us are. They're sitting in front of a laptop. They've got LinkedIn open. They're working on their CV. They've got Microsoft Word open. They're applying their resume, and you're typically emailing back and forth with them. Maybe they're coming in for multiple interviews or multiple video interviews with multiple team members, and everyone's providing feedback. Very, very different than if you're trying to hire 25 people to open up a second shift in a warehouse so that you can meet all the deliveries to your customers. Typically, the applicant who's applying for that job is applying on a mobile device. They're going home from work. They see, your job ad. Maybe they see it in the store. Maybe they see it online somewhere. They're going to apply right there on their mobile device. Very different. They may not even have a CV. They've maybe never put one together, and they're certainly maybe not be sitting in front of a laptop all day, looking at LinkedIn and looking at jobs. So very different world between corporate hiring and high volume hiring. If you look at the challenges that a customer like Cabify has, right? Hiring hundreds of thousands of people across 11 countries. How do you scale a kind of business like that while still keeping the quality really, really high? If you can't just sort of say, let's go for quantity. You need both quantity and quality. In order to do that, you need a tool that's purpose-built for hourly hiring, and you need a set of processes that's purpose-built in order to make sure from the moment that person says, I might be interested in driving for Cabify, to the moment they show up for their first day. You want that time to be as efficient as possible, and you need to be really, really focused on how do I get those people from interest to first day. And typically it's a very, very small recruiting team. Typically these are really small teams tasked with processing thousands and thousands of applications. That's what Fountain really, really does. Some challenges that are really, really present across our customers. We work with, hundreds of customers across 77 countries in almost every country in Europe. What are the challenges that they're seeing specifically? First is time. If you think about you're hiring 100, if you're hiring one job in a corporate office, you might get 250 resumes. If you need to hire 100 people and you multiply that by 250 applications, even if you're the best screening person in the world, by the time you get to the end of those first wave of applications, it may have taken days. And by the time you do that, the great people that applied at the beginning, they may have already moved on and found a better opportunity somewhere. So time, how do you do this with a really small team processing thousands of applications? Huge challenge for our customers. Second is cost. Obviously, most of us are reliant on job boards. You've got to pay lots and lots of money to make sure that your job is featured in the right places. It's at the top, and you have to refresh them constantly, and you have to keep spending money in order to make sure that you're getting enough applicants into your funnel so that you can get people and fill those jobs in your retail environment, in your warehouse. So cost per hire, critical challenge. And if you don't do a great job here, we have customers that sometimes see their recruiting costs balloon as a result of not managing the process well and then spending way too much money on job boards. Third one is keeping candidates engaged. Many of these candidates are applying to multiple jobs simultaneously. They're on their mobile device. Maybe they're just after they apply to your job, they're applying to another one. How do you keep them engaged? If you can keep them engaged from the moment they're interested in working for you to the moment they show up for their first day, way higher likelihood that that person is going to show up on the first day and become a productive member of your team. So keeping candidates engaged, huge challenge. And then obviously personalizing the candidate experience. I think it's very, very easy sometimes when you have 400 applications to turn every one of these people into a number, right? They become just a metric. How many applicants did you get? And we forget that there's a person there. There's a real person who's got real hopes, real aspirations for their own life and for their own money and for their own career. And, not turning them into just a number. How do you keep a personalized experience despite the fact that maybe you're not talking to them one-on-one all the time on the phone like you would maybe in a corporate job? So those are kind of the challenges that we see in the world of hourly hiring, specifically high volume hourly. Not to leave you with just challenges, we want to give you a few recommendations that we see that are really effective across our customers. And I would say that a lot of these recommendations, doesn't matter whether you're working pan-European within a specific country, maybe you're working both in the States and in Asia or in specifically in Europe, but these recommendations pretty much cut across the board with all of our customers. First one is to create candidate personas. Our best customers do this, in that prep stage. So they go ahead and they look at what are the success traits? What are the best people we have that are currently doing this job today for us, right? And they build a persona around that person and then use that persona. Maybe it's called Molly, maybe it's called David. And they say, what are the skills that Molly has or that David has? And then bring that way back into the recruiting funnel to say, okay, let's write our job description with the idea of attracting more Molly and more Davids to our jobs. What things are nice to have? What are the things that are must-haves for us? So creating a candidate persona, great way to ensure that, you're targeting those right people right from the get-go. Second thing is building a candidate pool. This is really, really cutting edge stuff for some of our customers, but you've gone through the work of maybe of posting a job, you will get some applicants. Most of them don't come to work for you. Let's not assume that the people that don't come to work for you, that there's no value in those candidates. Actually, there's a lot of value. You might find somebody who applies for your job, but for one reason or another, maybe they're not a perfect fit for this role today. Either maybe they don't meet the age requirement, maybe they don't live geographically close enough to your location. That doesn't mean to just forget about that candidate. In fact, if maybe you need to be 21 years old and the candidate is 20, it's a perfect opportunity to put them into a candidate pool and approach them in 6 months and say, hey, you applied to work for us 6 months ago. You couldn't do the job then, but now you're able to. We've got a great opportunity. And this enables you to move away from constantly having to reacquire and acquire new candidates, because you're actually building your own sort of pool, your own database of candidates. You're reactivating them and keeping them engaged. And it's a great way to not only recruit those people, but you can actually go to those people and say, maybe you're not looking, but do you have a friend that's looking? And it's a great way. Many of our customers using that. You can use Fountain, you can use a spreadsheet. There's lots of tools to do this, but a great way to reduce your cost per hire and to increase your time to hire, or reduce your time to hire, get better people in, building a candidate pool. Third one, using SMS to reach more candidates. We are constantly amazed at the efficacy of SMS. Text messaging is just a far superior way. And I know this is focused specifically on the hourly high volume workforce, but probably is valuable even in the corporate hiring sphere. We find our response rates that our customers who rely on SMS and text messaging much more likely to keep those candidates engaged and get them from, I might want to work from this company, to I'm going to show up for my first day of work. Huge way to improve and meet some of the challenges of high volume hiring. Personalizing the candidate experience, as we talked about, we don't want to turn people into metrics. One of the things that some of our customers do is do video interview. They do both asynchronous and live video interviewing. Imagine giving an applicant a 30-second opportunity to explain why they want to work for your company. Maybe what are they passionate about? What skills do they bring to the table? You really see personality come through from these applicants, and then you can use that as you engage with that candidate. You can keep sort of bringing it back to, we know you're passionate, we know you want to work for this company and why you want to work. We can bring that all the way through the candidate experience. So another great way to make sure that we're not turning people into just sort of metrics. And then lastly, tracking the right metrics. We know that if we track something, we'll improve it. So a couple of things we always talk about are source quality. A lot of people are focused on source quantity. How many applicants did I get from this job board or from this posting? What's really important is how many of those applicants actually turned into hires, right? What was the efficacy and efficiency of that source? That's a really important metric that we track all the time. And then applicant drop-off, right? So maybe there's a step in your recruiting process where 20 or 30% of the applicants just go dormant or don't come back. It's a great opportunity to evaluate whether that step is the right step and maybe run an A/B test and say, let's try it without that step, let's try it with that step and see what happens. It's another great way to meet some of the challenges of high volume. So just quickly in summary, we think high volume recruitment is vastly different. Having the right tools can make or break the operation. And then obviously always taking a candidate first approach that's personalized, that's seamless, that's convenient for the candidate is going to enable you to hire those 100 people or those 50 people much more efficiently, meet the needs of your internal customers, make sure your business is successful. Fountain works with lots and lots of businesses. If you'd love to learn more, if you're passionate about hourly hiring and this is high volume recruiting is something you think about and work on every day, we'd love to talk to you. And thanks so much for the time.